Hey everybody, it's Claire Church here and Pete Lewis from the Muse. So today, well, first of all, I should tell you these Muse Talks, we've been checking in with our musician friends, with some venue owners. We talked to a recording studio engineer and owner, but mostly we're just trying to check in with our musician friends, see how they're doing. A lot of musicians have lost all of their income. They may teach a little bit, but beyond that, you know, that's a lot of income lost. And I think everybody's realizing the value of musicians. These two, we have with us today, Elena and Khabu. They've reached that point in their fame where they're just one name artists like Prince. So
You're so funny.
We're the duo formerly known as, well, there'll be some kind of squiggly character we'll create for you.
Yes.
That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, can we just kick it off with some music that you guys recorded just recently, right?
No, last night.
Last night.
Just for this.
Yeah, exactly. Just for this, with the hopes that the audio would sound a little better for those who are with us.
Sweet.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Within the space and light, gentle like snow in the winter, wandering through the strings of your guitar. Strong and long, like silver aspen trees, are your hands. Beautiful, curious fingers over me, stroking my hair or dancing on my toes. Sneaking out of the sheets, or chopping apples in the morning light. Your hands. Waves in the space and light, gentle like snow in the winter, wandering through the strings of your guitar. Strong and long, like silver aspen trees, are your hands. Beautiful, curious fingers over me, stroking my hair or dancing on my toes, on my toes, on my toes, on my toes, on my toes. Sneaking out of the sheets, or chopping apples in the morning light. Your
Yeah.
That was wonderful, guys. Is this a new composition? Oh, you got to get out of the screen.
There we go.
Sarah.
There we are.
Composition?
Yeah, this is a piece of mine that I wrote last winter, and then Khabu helped me with some things toward the end. So it's our tune, basically.
Beautiful voicings, beautiful changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your voice is so versatile. You know, I'm sure you've heard that before.
I did, but thank you. It's nice to hear.
When you did the Uncanceled Festival, you did something that was sort of like pop-ish, or maybe that was a different thing that I heard you doing. It might have been something somebody posted, but you really did that style like full on too. Never heard you do that, so I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. We should start a funk band, Elena. Wouldn't that be fun?
Elena,
Yeah, absolutely.
can you give the listeners some background where you grew up, how you got inspired to be a musician?
You talking about me or Khabu?
You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where I got the inspiration of becoming a musician. It wasn't my life plan at all. It kind of happened little by little, and now that's what I've been doing. But I've been always singing since I can remember. When I was little, my cousin still complains because I would go on the car when we could these family trips, and yeah, I would just start singing from the moment I was sitting to the moment we would arrive to the place, and then I would start eat, so that I could stop singing then. And then I just played the records my mom had. She had like 45s of the Beatles, of Little Richards. I had no idea what I was saying, but I was singing the phonetics, you know, like I Wanna Hold Your Hair.
Yeah. That's great.
And tell us where you grew up again.
I grew up in what we call the dry land of Venice, or still land of Venice, which is Mestre. And I lived there my whole life until I moved, also that really unconsciously, to New York. I didn't mean to stay. I wanted to stay for a year, and then here I am in the US for about 12 years now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
For real.
And
I'm glad I'm here.
was it just a trip to New York you just were wanting to visit, or was it a musical thing that you were going to?
Well, it was, I wanted to take a sabbatical basically out of my life in general, and I've been saving money to do that. I was working a lot as a singer in Italy, a lot, like singing 3, 4, 5 times a week, very nice gigs too with wonderful musicians. And I was teaching a lot, so I could save enough money that I could take a year off and, you know, do some things in New York. I did. Oh yeah, I worked a little bit when I was there because I wasn't really expecting to stay longer than 1 year. And I ended up in New York the first time because I won a kind of a scholarship through the Spoleto Jazz Vocal Workshop that was led by Michelle Hendricks, which I adore. She's been one of the most amazing person I ever met in my life. She still is. You know, we are in touch here and there, and she's still singing and being fabulous. And I met a few musicians in New York, and that led me to come and visit for a little longer period, and blah, blah, blah.
Meet Khabu.
Well, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and when I was 13, I met my guitar teacher. His name is Eric Avinger, and we're still very, very close friends. And he's the one that introduced me to jazz. I remember still the very, very first lesson of going to him, and he asked me what I was interested in, and I said, well, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's classical music, but whatever it is that I'm hearing on the radio is not it. There's something else out there. Maybe it's classical music. And he said, well, I could teach you jazz. And I was kind of, jazz? What's that? And he started shredding giant steps. And I was like, okay, yeah, that.
How old were you?
I was 13, 12 or 13, something like that. And then he told me about the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts in Houston, otherwise known as HSPVA. And so I got into the school, and yeah, just it really kept going from there. I spent a year in New Jersey at William Patterson, my first year of college. And it wasn't quite the right fit for me at that time in my life in terms of directions that I wanted to be going. And I moved back to Houston. I got very interested in meditation and did a 2-week Vipassana meditation retreat that completely blew everything open for me, and artistically at that too. It was one of the first times that I could hear music so clearly in my own mind, and I could hear every last part to every detail, just sitting in stillness and silence.
Get the clear all the other stuff, and there it is.
Yeah. And then that led me to go to Naropa.
And then you met Art.
In Boulder. And so I had heard about Art. So I moved to Boulder, and then I met Art and took some lessons, and he said, let's start a band, which became known as the Russian Dragon Band.
Oh.
Dwight Killian and Mark Miller. And then later, we had different guests, but eventually our good friend Bruce Williamson in New York became a strong force in the Russian Dragon Band, and we released a couple of albums that way. And then I was in New York for 20 years, and then I moved back here again 5 years ago. And
It's only been 5 years, really?
yeah.
Wow.
Wow, so you never knew me as a saxophone player.
You know, I did
I
meet
haven't.
you. There was a trip that I did out here to play with Art and to visit, and Boy Girl Band was finishing a rehearsal, and so I did get to meet you, and I knew of you as a saxophone player, and had heard Boy Girl Band recordings later. But yeah, that's true. By the time I got here, you were a drummer.
Or 5 years ago,
Player.
but
Well, can you guys play another clip of some music for us?
Absolutely. So we have these 3 short improvisations. Again, this was done last night as well. So let's see.
Pique tuka pocket tuka tuka pique tuka pocket tika tuka pique tuka tuka pocket tika tuka tika tuka tika tuka pocket tika tuka to pocket tuku tiki kaku kapa pite tato pa tata tata to tato tata to te papa tata to pate tata to to te to pore tata to te kero batera. I could hear the waves
Thank you.
Fancy fade-ins and all that. You guys are like film triggers and everything.
Khabu likes that.
Yeah, it's out of boredom
I just
because I can.
say you guys missed the coda on that second one though. I never heard the coda.
Dakota. Yeah, I decided I would take that off. Yeah, it didn't move the composition forward in any way. So.
I mean, the fact that you had it memorized, I mean, it was really impressive since
Right?
it was pretty long to memorize that. No, so listeners, we're kidding, of course.
What? Could I interject?
I wanted to say something about Oh Snap.
I was going to do that, but you go right ahead.
No, you go ahead. You haven't talked much.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Oh Snap, that Elena, you kind of lead, and Khabu, of course, you participate in. And I think it's just such an awesome event, and it's free improvisation. Would you like to speak about that a little bit?
Sure, I would love to. So Osnap was born because Farrell Lowe, amazing guitar player who you guys know very well, and I were going to Denver to do this free improvisation jam sessions. And then when I heard that the Muse was going to be born soon, I said, oh, there is this new place, it's gonna be here. Why don't we do it here? Why don't we try and check it out and see how it works? And so we sat down and we thought about which kind of format, which is the one that you know, so build your own band, basically. And the first time, we do it monthly. The first time there were maybe 7 person. The third time there were 10 musicians, but already the fourth time there were 25, 30. And oh, amazing. The level of musicianship and respect is just so beautiful, and I miss it so much. And I miss to play with Farrell, of course.
Yeah.
But I miss the Muse, and I miss the space that you guys provided for it, which is just incredibly beautiful and welcoming, and the sound is great. Everything works just fantastic to me. So thank you.
And I remember it was a few sessions ago, but I put together a band, and there was someone there with a theremin.
Oh yeah, Victoria Lumley, yeah.
So cool to have all these different textures and timbres that you can choose from to build a band. So
that way of improvising, I started doing with Boy Girl Band with Art, and when I first started doing it, it was very new to me. I was a very very accomplished, like, play the right notes all the time with the exact articulations, symphony and theater and bebop, and so it just opened this corner of my brain wide.
Oh, yeah.
And it changed the way I played everything else. It really changed the way I played, and it's not. I've never gone back. I think once that part of your brain is open, it's just open.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah.
So how are you guys doing through all of this?
We're doing well, actually. Yeah.
Things, I mean, there's one of the things that I started noticing a couple nights ago was that when I would get into a place, a contemplative place of listening and really trying to hear what is the sound of now, what is really going on. What I'm noticing so far, and this could just be in terms of my own process, and that my own process can't extend any further than my head, but there's a lot of static noise going on, and it's extremely loud. It's almost deafening to me when I go into that place. And obviously I have no idea if everyone else is having similar kinds of experience, but I mean, that's the place where I play from. So I really notice it a lot when I sit down to try to play. And it's just, there's this static noise. And for right now, it's just a matter of noticing this and allowing it to be and accepting it for what it is, and staying tuned into how it may change and how I may interact with it and change it, at least in terms of my own relationship.
Yeah.
So.
What about you, Elena?
I am navigating it as I can. It's been really hard for me to be so far away from my family in this moment,
Yeah.
especially, as the coronavirus affected Italy, and being very concerned about everybody I love over there, which, thank goodness, miraculously, everybody is fine. My mother is great. My sisters are fine. My friends are all healthy. And I am so, so grateful for this. And for this reason, I spend a lot of time speaking in Italian lately. So I think I'm losing some of my English and gaining a stronger Italian accent.
Because you're always talking to people over there.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And I feel actually grateful about all the internet and media that we have, because without that, I would have no way to be in touch with the people I love the way I'm doing it. And also because I'm able to teach and keep on having, a little income, which is necessary for everybody, but especially these days is the only thing that we can count on, basically. So yeah, I feel very grateful for that. And my nature is optimistic and positive. It's my nature. It's not that I'm making any effort, and I'm grateful for that too.
Yeah, you're a very joyful person.
I am.
I can't help smiling when you're singing because it.
I love that.
Do you have any other questions?
Well, how about you guys play the last video for us, and then we'll ask you a kind of a parting question and conclude there.
That sounds good. Well, this last video is a version of Honeysuckle Rose that we recorded the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
It's an old one.
And
Almost 100 years old.
yeah, and I mean, I think in terms of what we just played, the open improvisations, and Clara, you were mentioning how it is affected, getting into that space has really changed the way you approach everything else too. And yeah, I think this would be a good example of ways in which the open improvisational space could inform a space like playing over a jazz standard, where we can keep that same degree of openness and just the fun of the adventure of it.
Just as an aside, one time I was playing with Art, just the two of us, and we were playing without a song, and we got to the bridge, and I stopped, and I said, Art, I don't remember the bridge, and he goes, Claire, just play the song like we always do.
That's very Art answer.
Yep. All right, here we go. Screen share. It's not letting me. Hang on. Sorry. Technical.
Like I said, we're all about production value over here.
Right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Every honeybee feels sweet jealousy when they see you are with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop and sigh, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Don't buy touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's so sweet when you stir it up. When I take in sips from your tasty lips, it's the honey pearly drips. Your confection goodness knows on a sucker rose. Every honeybee feels with jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose, when you're passing by, flowers droop and sigh, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. My sugar, you just have to catch my car. You're my sugar, and it's so sweet when you stir it up. When I take in sips from your tasting lips, it seems the honey pearly drips. You are confection, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose, honeysuckle rose. You're my honeysuckle rose.
All right. Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Every honeybee feels sweet jealousy.
Okay.
I was I usually step out of the screen when I'm listening, but I was smiling like the whole time, you know. And as you were kind of like, I probably didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very self-critical
to
of my
listen
own
to
music,
yourself.
but yeah. But I was smiling that whole time. That was just wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Soulful. It was soulful.
It's soulful. Yeah. Well, do you guys have any things you can leave our listeners as far as like thoughts, words of advice, encouragement, or just anything you want to leave the listeners with? Put you on the spot there.
Definitely, I don't have any advice. That's for
No,
sure.
not at all.
Advice?
No.
Okay.
No, not any advice. Just, I have a wish that everybody keep staying safe as much as they can and healthy, but most of all, kind, really. I hope everybody stays kind with everybody. It's such a hard time for all of us, and it's an exceptional, exceptional moment in the world history, not just for me in my little home or my neighbor or you, for the whole planet. The only way I think we can survive this for real, it's really being kind, being mindful, and try your best. toward these things. And this is just a wish. It's not any kind of advice. I don't have any advice. I can teach you cooking if you want, but that's it.
Be kind is probably very good advice.
Yeah.
For all the time, but for now, for sure. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so
thanks,
much.
guys. Appreciate it.
We're glad we got to speak with you and hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are fantastic. You're amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for making the Muse happening. You're like my heroes, truly. And I can't wait to play with you again. I miss you.
We hope it's very soon.
We miss you too.
All right, take
Yeah.